making a bit of a difference. So, Cory Sandhagen versus um, Deiveson Figueiredo. Hmm. Number four versus number five. This is going to be an interesting one. I don't think it's even necessary to go through their past records. I think a lot of us know that these people have fought some of the best and most talented people um, in the UFC, basically. So it's I think it's not even necessary to actually go through their past records, basically. Deiveson Figueiredo is a former champion at the feather at like said hi. Oh, Twizzy said hi. What up, man? How are you? Welcome to the stream, Twizzy. So as far as Cory Sandhagen and Deiveson Figueiredo, I mean, Deiveson Figueiredo has basically been the champion, I think, twice now at flyweight. However, and he has been performing decently well. At what do you call it, at bantamweight? I just feel like he went a little bit too late at bantamweight. Sanhagen decision. I think I'm with you, and I fully agree with that. I genuinely think Davison Figueiredo went a little bit too late to bantamweight. Um, there's a reason why Volkanovski was so celebrated for winning the championship at the age of 36, because that's something that hardly ever happens. Davison Figueiredo is 37 at bantamweight, a lighter weight than featherweight. Before we even get to discussing the skills of each fighter, um, that's one of the biggest issues I have with Deiveson Figueiredo. He's fighting at championship level. I mean, you can still have a massive success at lower ranks within lower weight classes. Like, for example, at lightweight, if you're ranked number 20 in the world, you can still have success even at the age of 38, 30, 30 something. But the moment you start to get into championship level, which is top 10 and top 5, especially top 5, which is where Davison Figueiredo is fighting at, it becomes significantly harder to actually achieve that particular feat. So, number two, Cory Sandhagen has the height advantage. Let me actually check. Does he have the reach advantage? Surprisingly, it's not a massive reach advantage because he has like a 2-inch reach advantage. So it's not that massive, but I don't know if it matters too much because Cory Sandhagen doesn't necessarily use his height and reach to his advantage. However, I still feel like Figure will probably need a sub. His BJJ is really slept on. Yeah, I'm going to actually get to that. So Cory Sandhagen doesn't necessarily use his height a lot, but I normally favor I normally look at reach whenever I'm breaking down fights, especially when it relates to a striker, which Cory Sandhagen is. So I think the reach will help in the striking exchanges. Um, but even though Cory Sandhagen hardly ever uses his reach in fights, he just stands in the pocket for some reason. So as far as finishing abilities, obviously Davison Figueiredo is a better finisher. So if anyone is going to finish the fight, it might potentially be Davison Figueiredo. However, Davison Figueiredo maybe 2 years ago, not now to be honest. So it's hard for me to actually see him getting the finish here. So let's get to actually the breakdown of the fight. As far as volume, obviously I feel like Cory Sandhagen throws a little bit more than Deiveson Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo focuses a little bit more on accuracy as opposed to volume, which is good. But the Sandhagen is probably going to touch him up and win a decision. As far as defense, I feel like both of them are more or less the same. I think defensively, as far as striking, they are basically the same as far as defense. So I'm going to give the advantage to to Cory Sandhagen. I think of the two, he's probably the more technical striker, and he's probably going to be better on the feet, especially when you combine the fact that he will have a bit more volume. Because defensively, especially when you consider the fact that both of them are not particularly great defensively. They're not too bad, but they're not particularly great defensively. So that means whoever has more volume is probably going to land, right? Because their defense is decent, but it's not the best. So I see Corey Sanhagen just piling up damage over 5 rounds, and I don't know, Deiveson Figueiredo looking like he's been through something really bad. And then I don't honestly think the fight. Okay, the fight could go to the ground. To be honest, Cody Sanhagen has some takedown defense, but and his stand up ability is actually pretty decent. But I'm not going to have too much confidence in his takedown defense because I've seen how many people have been able to take him down. Hello, Sugar. Damn. Oh no no. I'm a dude guy. Sanhagen shines against all guys. Yeah, I honestly agree with that, but I'm just worried about his takedown defense. I feel like it's going to Twizy Rich Slugfest got that race. I didn't even wash my face before I streamed, guys. Anyway, so I think I'm honestly worried about Cody Sanhagen's takedown defense, especially because I feel like if Deiveson Figueiredo can manage to get the fight to the ground, he's probably going to go after a submission, and he is good. Like Tweezy just said, he's really good on the ground, and he has a couple of submission wins, and plus he's a finisher as well. So I think that's going to come into play. So in all honesty, I think Corey Sanhagen's offensive and defensive wrestling have been improving over the past couple of years, especially since the submission against the submission loss to Aljamain Sterling. I think Corey Sanhagen has been improving significantly over time, and I think it's going to play a significant role in how this fight plays out. I'm still a little bit worried, but if Umar Nomagomedov couldn't submit him, I don't see I don't see a 37-year-old Davidson Figueiredo submitting Cory Sandhagen because if anyone was supposed to have been able to submit him, it should have been Umar, and Umar was unable to do that. He had to strike with Cory Sandhagen, so I can see a situation where Davidson Figueiredo is forced to strike with Cory Sandhagen, and if that's the case, I think he's going to be outvolumed and outpointed to a decision. And that's basically how I see the fight playing out. My subscribers and I went with Corey Sandhagen. I'm not particularly confident in this particular pick, largely because of the takedown defense. Corey Sandhagen has not horrible, but he doesn't have the best takedown defense. But he was still able to get up even after being taken down. So maybe that's something that we should maybe take into consideration whenever making a decision as far as who to pick. But like I said, Davison Figueiredo is fighting at championship level at the age of 37. That's never ever good. In like it has been proven. That's why Volkanovski was said to be the first person to win a championship at the 36, I think, at featherweight or something, at lower weight classes or something to that effect. That just goes to show the difficulty that's involved in actually the difficulty involved in actually achieving success um, as you get older at the lower weight classes. So that in itself is going to be one of the biggest hurdles. But at the same time, Davison Figueiredo has a what do you call it? A reach disadvantage, a height disadvantage, a striking volume disadvantage. There are a couple of things that are going for Corey Sanhagen, and I think that's going to give him the fight. So yeah, once again, my subscribers and I are going with Corey Sanhagen. I'm going to break down Bo Nickel versus Renier Derrida. My pick is very interesting. I went with Derrida. My subscribers went with Bo Nickel. So I'm going to try and explain my reasons for that. I see an upset incoming, to be honest. So I'm going to go to that fight right now. If you want to join me, then just wait for the pop up or go to the live section on the channel. Let's see each other there. Deuces.